the prime cut to meat body spoon. So it's first in the industry where you're having your spoon style, but you're also having your meat pattern. So you're allowing to combine those two into one product now. And yeah, the anglers from all across the Great Lakes have had great success. And this year we're going to be doing a lot more in-depth videos on the water, because a lot of anglers, sometimes struggle with how to run them, how to tune them and stuff. So this year we're really taking that next step to get a lot of good content out there for anglers to pick up on.
Yeah. You were showing somebody, I was over in your booth a little while ago, just how you rig these.
Yep.
And I mean, I've been on the boat with a lot of guys, they use the toothpick.
Yep.
So with what you're doing though is something a little bit different. Tell us about that.
So originally we started with the toothpick, which that method still works good. The only problem we've seen is you got a metal tab rubbing on a toothpick. Over time, you're going to end up breaking it off, or you're going to have a big salmon thrashing his head, and you're going to break it out. So this method that we ran last year that we're now really pushing this year is using a 22 gauge copper wire, or any type of just thin metal wire that's going to fit through your meat head and through the prime cut. So you're going to actually just form like a bread tie through the head, and then you're going to fold the bread tie over on the inside of the meat. Yeah. The nice part about that is no matter how hard that salmon's thrashing, you're never going to pull that meat head out of the head itself. So, or meat bait out of the head. So we noticed last year, no anglers were losing baits because it's an investment. Guys are spending $10 a strip. These last for 10 plus kings, so you don't want the first king to just throw it out of the bait head and now you're baitless. So so that's one method we've been really pushing this year at the show, so guys can keep their baits longer, lasting longer for the kings. Yeah.
Well, tell me about what you got going on here, how your product works.
Yep. So our product rigs up in every style meathead in the industry. So it doesn't matter what bait head you're using, it's going to work. What I like to tell everybody is when it comes out of the package, it's going to be a straight bait, and you got to tune it. And I've had a lot of guys come and say, I just put it in the head and I'm not getting the good action. So when you put it in your bait head and you lock that in with that bread tie or toothpick, your choice, you're going to put your two fingers together. So you put your two fingers together and you're going to kind of massage the bait going down to the tail end while you're also applying pressure on the meat head. And that's going to give it that perfect kind of half moon bend to it. It's just a nice subtle bend. You don't need to do a super heavy bend, but just subtle enough to where you're getting that nice rotation. That subtle bend also, whether you're running at 2.0 all the way up to 3.0, that bait's going to still be performing really nice while you're trolling it.
Yeah. So when guys just kind of dump this over the side, they're taking a look at how it's running next to the boat. What should it look like?
So I would say when you're dumping it off the side of the boat, you're going to want to have that, I call it like a roll kick. You're going to see it every second and a half doing a spin and then a hard kick on the tail. And that's been the same from fast trolling to slow trolling. There are guys that like to do a different style bend. So if you do that light half moon bend, you're going to come right to the tail end of the tab, and you're going to kind of pinch it hard, and it's going to give it kind of an extra 20-degree bend off of that tail. And that's going to kind of give it more of a spoon kick. So it's going to kick, but it's going to do a loop, but then it'll kind of come back and jog back the opposite way. So it's pretty cool how it kind of gives it a little more erratic action to it. Especially if you get kings that are following the bait for a long period of time. You kind of put a different bend on that tab and just shows them something a little different. You end up getting those extra bites throughout the morning or day.
Is that something maybe you'd run? I mean, you can experiment with your bend when you're out fishing and just see what works best.
Yeah, because there's guys that do a sharp bend because they want a really tight roll. So they're going to bend it really tight to just get that hard kick fast. Guys will just put a hair bend to get kind of a subtle kick to it. So it's all trial and error. Everybody, as you know, fishes different on the Great Lakes. Some bait bends work better than other boats. So it's all experimental. It's what you feel confident in running, is what I would say.
How about colors? What do you have for different colors?
So color options, All of our baits, I think we have 20 plus colors out there, and all the colors have been proven on the Great Lakes, from your bright chartreuse, your crushed glow patterns, like a couple new colors, and new kind of patterns that we've had on old patterns. For instance, like this is our swamp frog. So when we released this originally, it was black sticker dots. So now we're doing the custom airbrush patterns, which guys are loving at the show, because we know salmon guys, they love
green with black dots.
Yeah. So another one, our crushed glow green dot. This bait's actually very special. So this last fall, Team Salmonella won the Lock Derby, Fall Derby, took the first place spot on this spoon tab. So, that's a huge accomplishment for, an up and coming company like ourselves, to get that first place win on Lake Ontario. So from their win, we gave them the option of, like, hooking them up with baits, or you guys want to design your own prime cut. So they came out with Salmonella, but an Angry Bird prime cut. So that's new for the 2025 season. This should be in most retailers here within the next month for sale. So we'll be pretty busy getting those inventories filled.
What retailers are you in?
So a lot of the retailers out of Pulaski, New York, Sonny's Fishing Center, Fat Nancy's, Woody's Tackle, All Seasons. I'm sure I forgot one. Couple Western New York shops are going to hopefully be getting on board with us. Fish USA. Fish USA just took our whole line of products on, and actually before I got out to the show, their order is shipped, so they're going to have them in stock here this next week, available for sale. So we're pretty excited about Fish USA, and our retailers that we started with. I mean, we love all of our retailers. We try to give everybody as much business as we can, and the relationships all across the lake. That's what I enjoy about this business.
Yeah. Are you selling on your own website?
Yep, we do sell at socobaits.com. But we always tell guys that buy our products, go to our retailers first. Send them the business. If for some reason they don't have it, or then come to us. But always go to those guys first before you make a purchase online with us.
Yeah, but if you got a guy, let's say you got somebody watching from Lake Michigan or something right now that's watching this, they want to try out your stuff.
Yeah.
They can go to Fish USA, they can go to your website. But yeah, I mean, if you're on Lake Ontario, you can get to a store that has it, definitely do that. But, I just want people that are maybe outside of the Lake Ontario area to be able to get an opportunity to use what you got going.
And, and that's where, like, with Fish USA, getting on board with those guys, that's going to help us reach the farther markets out, Lake Michigan and all the other Great Lakes heading west. Even on the West Coast, they have a big market out there. So that's going to definitely help guys get these baits in their hands fast. And we're looking forward to having that account this year and working with those guys. Yeah.
You got an opportunity this weekend to talk to everybody here. What's been the feedback here at the show with the people you've had a chance to talk to?
So feedback, a lot of return customers, guys that first bought the bait last show, and they come out and they're like, hey, these 3 patterns were killer on our boat. And, and they restocked over the summer months and stuff. But when they come here, it's hard to pass up buying tackle when you're at a location like this. So a lot of guys are getting their pre-tackle, and but great success with our products, and that's where I think the feedback also, when it came to guys running it, they're still seeing or learning helpful tips and tricks on running the prime cut, and that's where the videos this summer are gonna really help out that market.
Yeah, you definitely should do that and get that stuff out there. Something else I saw when I was over at your booth, you're also doing some panfish plastics too?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So we got our Crazy Eyes. So it's a synthetic perch eye. We make it in a 1/4 inch and a half. We also have hammerhead grub body. So the Crazy Eyes are great for, ice fishing, springtime and fall. I mean, guys look at it as an ice fishing bait. We use them all season long. No matter if you got perch, crappies, bluegills biting, these baits are going to work. And what I was showing you, Chris, was the jigging wraps, the jigging wrap method. So if you have, say, like the 1/4 inch Crazy Eye, or even like the 1/2 inch, what we like to do is take the bottom treble off of the jigging wrap, remove it, and then you're going to actually place that crazy eye over top of the main hook shank, so it's center of the 3 hook points. Put it back on your jigging wrap, and now you have it dresses up the bottom of the bait a lot better than just having a plain hook. So, and guys run that on jigging wraps and also buckshot spoons, those style spoons in the industry as well.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about your fishing. You do some fishing too. You're an East Ender, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
East Ender. I charter on Oneida Lake's my home lake.
Okay.
Oswego's my home port, but I jump from like Mexico Bay to Oswego for that, and I also do lake trout and perch on Cayuga Lake. So kind of jump around to a couple lakes. It keeps everything fresh. It keeps me on my toes, especially when the bite windows could be a little tough. So I'm usually Ontario, Oneida, and maybe Cayuga. So it's always jumping one after another.
Yeah. That Cayuga lake trout thing.
Yeah, it's a blast.
That looks like fun.
It is. If you haven't, guys always think of lake trout when we're trolling them. They come up, they're easy. You're just cranking on the reel, but you put a medium action rod jigging in 180 foot of water with a 1 ounce jig, they overpower you at that point. So, and clients that I've had out the past couple of years, their first initial thought is like, no, I don't want to go for lake trout. I'm like, no, you haven't tried the jigging yet. So, and now they're hooked. Every year they're like, put us down for the same date. So, and this year, it's going to be a little different on my charters, especially on Cayuga. So typically we would just run lake trout trips, but the perch fishery is so phenomenal. I'm giving the clients the option like, hey, do you guys want to jig Lakers for 2 or 3 hours? And then we'll go to the north end and we'll hammer on some perch. And who doesn't want to bring home a cooler full of big yellow perch? So it's been it was good last spring. All my clients love that. This year, pretty much that's how we're going to be running it.
Yeah, you start wrestling with those Lakers for a couple hours, you're probably ready to go.
Yeah,
go catch some perch.
Especially when they've had 50, 60 hookups by 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm like, let's go for perch.
Yeah.
So it's fun though. It's a good mix.
Yeah. Tell me about fishing Mexico Bay.
Yeah, so Mexico Bay, I go out of there. I go out of Oswego. It all depends on the wind. I run a 23-foot crest liner, so I'm not like the 31-foot tiara guys, out there handling the big 6-7 footers. But the boat handles good waves. But yeah, I mainly go out of there for spring browns when that bite's going on. Casey Prisco, he's usually giving me a good report on the action because I'm out there maybe twice a week compared to the other guys that, they're running every day, multiple trips. So, those guys help me out a lot, get dialed into a pattern quick. And, I always try to form my own pattern, but it's tough to break some of the just true patterns that work on that east end of the lake. But yeah, no, I enjoy brown fishing. Springtime fishing's always fun because I'm jumping all over, and the perch, the brown trout, lake trout. It's a great mix of fish.
Yeah. Tell me about that brown trout bite. Like, when does it get going? How are you targeting them? Yeah,
so I typically, like last year, we were starting early February. It was springtime in February. So I try to get out there starting like late March because my boat stays in my garage all winter. So the minute I could get my boat launched, we're going for browns. And, we start with our spoon patterns, typically running like short, shallow, crankbaits, doing a mix of stuff, 5 to 15 foot of water. So mid-March is when I like to start, and I'll run brown trout trips right up until the end of April. And once walleye opens up in May, that's where I kind of shift gears to Oneida Lake.
Gotcha. I was out fishing with Casey, I don't know, must have been 4 or 5 years ago, and we went out in July and found those browns. Had a great day fishing browns in late July. We were out obviously in deeper water, but right out in front of Oswego.
And that's something this year I got to dial myself into. So spring browns I'm great on. I can go out. We can have a good spring brown bite. When it comes summertime, I'm typically targeting the kings, but the brown trout this year I'm really going to focus in on and try to dial them in.
But you got a fan here. Chris Sayas is Soco Baits or nothing. Only time I catch fish is when I'm on Nick's boat.
My boy Chris.
Yeah, so it's good to have fans and friends out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Chris, we went to school together, and this past year, me and him took a trip out to Lake Erie. I had to show him what that bite was all about, and he's addicted.
Yeah. Where'd you guys go out of Lake Erie?
We went out of Dunkirk.
Okay.
Dunkirk was where we went out. So springtime, I went out of Lorain, Avon Lake, Ohio. So that was my first time with my boat out there. Phenomenal fishery. I'm hooked. It'll probably be 4 trips out there this year. So, but yeah, we went out of Ohio, and then as that migration of fish pushed up into New York waters, I mean, we were fishing, I think, 100 foot of water for the walleyes, which is the deepest I've ever fished walleyes. Is we were putting our downriggers at like 85 feet down. We were running B-hammer tackle harness rigs. He's another local guy out of the Oneida Lake area. Makes phenomenal walleye rigs, and the only ones I run on the boat, casting wise and trolling wise. But yeah, we were sending those 60 feet off the downriggers. Seemed like our better bites on Lake Erie were coming off of like keeping those baits a little bit farther off the riggers. So it was a fun trip with Chris. But
yeah, I fished with Craig Sleeman out there. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago out of Dunkirk, and being a Minnesota guy where we're used to fishing walleyes on rock piles and 20 feet of water, to go out and you're fishing over 85 and the walleyes are at 60 and you're like, this is crazy.
You know, and Craig, and I talked to Craig before going out to Dunkirk, and I mean, good friend of mine, he hooks me up with, you know, the local knowledge and stuff, and any question I had, Craig was there to answer it. And you know, it took us maybe, I would say, like 2 hours to get dialed in, because deep water fishing, I'm like, all right, like I fish kings in deep water, but I'm just dialing in my walleyes. But once we got them dialed, it was rods were just one after another firing. So it's a good time.
When were you out there?
We went out August 15th.
Okay.
We were out of Dunkirk. And we had a lot of good smelt balls down there in the deep water. Ohio, we were out in I think the second week of May. We were out of Ohio waters. So sorry. But yeah, no, it's a great fishery. I enjoy it. It's a change of pace from Oneida.
Yeah. So you're going to Erie. Where else you got? What's on your list for this year? Where else are you gonna go fishing?
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Lake Erie. Lake Erie, I'm addicted to now.
Well, you've got some great stuff around you where you're at with Cayuga and the other lakes around you, and of course being right there on Lake Ontario. It's a great bite, and you can get out. And,
I mean, within an hour of drive time, I mean, you're fishing world class waterways. So you know, we're smack dab in the middle of some great fishing, and you know, I like traveling outside of that scope every once in a while.
Yeah. So you got some walleye stuff coming then?
Not right now.
Not right now.
No.
Are we working on it?
Possibly.
Yeah.
We got some things in the work. We just got some other stuff going in play right now.
Yeah. So maybe you'll have some Soco walleye stuff coming up pretty soon.
It would definitely be on the soft plastic end. Things that rig up on, you know, worm harness rigs, like crawler rigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what you do as far as testing. If you're working on stuff with the prime cut, you know, what does that testing look like?
Yeah, so when it comes to, like, you're talking like patterns and stuff, so we try to get the captains involved. And you know, they're our main, like, eyes and ears on the waters. They're out there every day. So I'll go to captains and I'll be like, hey, like, do you guys have a specific color you like to run, or, you know, what do you want to see in a prime cut form? And that's where, you know, we'll make up half a dozen baits. We'll get them to some, like, knowledgeable captains in the area that we work with. They run them. It's either a yay or a nay. And if they say, hey, we crushed them on this, all right, we'll roll that into the following season. So testing, you know, it comes down to just what the captains want to see in a spoon, but also in the meat body aspect.
Yeah. So we're not doing walleyes right away.
No.
Anything else new coming up that you can tell me about?
Right now we're kind of this year with the with what we plan to do with the current products we have. I think all of our new stuff, future up and coming stuff, would be in the following year, and that's when it comes down to so our prime cut, for instance, is 5 1/8 inch. This show, I've had a lot of guys asking, are we going to be coming out with a smaller prime cut? And, you know, this has been kind of in talk the past, I would say 2 years, 3 years, with a couple other captains back at home. You know, guys like running, you know, smaller baits, especially if they're fishing around smaller schools of bait fish. So that's in the works.
Okay.
We're hoping to have, you know, our mold designs and mold cuts by the end of this year, to where we can release them here in the upcoming season, or the following season, shall I say.
Awesome. Anything else that you want to talk about before I let you go?
I think we covered a lot of it.
I think I pushed you over the coals probably a couple extra times, making sure
that's okay.
we get everything out of you, but appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck this year with everything going on.
At the show. Usually day 3 of the show is when I start losing my voice, and that's when Chris says, "Hey, you want to get on at 4 o'clock?"
There's some lifesavers there. Grab a couple of lifesavers on the way out.
Awesome.
Let me grab that mic off you before you go.
Yep. There we go.
And that's Nick Sokolowski from Soco Baits. You can visit him online. You can check him out at Fish USA pretty soon too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks a lot. Nice chatting.
Yeah, great talking to you.